Welcome, welcome, welcome to the workshop named Women Raised by Critical and Demanding Parents. And I can't say how honored I am to have the possibility to have put information into this presentation and share it with as many women of any age it's possible, because information can be empowerment. And the moment we have more information about ourselves or our past or something that could influence us, that will also give us the power to choose what we do with it. So that's why the goal of today is to use this information that we will hear together and discuss and also practice. That's why I strongly encourage you, please have a pen and a paper, or just write on your laptop or phone. It's good. Writing helps to remember, right? So if I just hear, it's good, but if I practice or I write something, stays much more with me. I invite you, what we hear today, let's use our freedom and allowance to allow more self-love, self-care, and less guilt as a child that was raised by critical or demanding parents. And I would like to express in a few words and shortly why this workshop and why about critical parents. Why didn't I address directly to the ladies here and I addressed about parents or past? Because in my own life, I thought that I had a perfect family or a perfect mother that could never criticize me. So I said, that's definitely not something I'm struggling with. But interesting enough, I realized that demand from our family can mean many things, can come in very different forms. It's not just waiting to be criticized. Also, when your parents have the demand, subconsciously or not, that you're going to be a perfect child or a child that has to perform, that will also have some influence over you. So that's why I want to teach you as many forms of possible. I'm a therapist. I worked with hundreds of women, and most of the time I realized that an obstacle in their life of becoming who they want to be and take care of themselves and be free was a consequence of being raised by critical or demanding parents. So I said, let's put it all in a presentation and let's empower more women, because that's my mission. I want to empower women and I hope you're up for it. And just a few things. I also love to empower myself through my body, through being strong. I'm also a personal trainer, and I'm using the trust I have now in myself to travel and to give myself new experiences and accomplish my dreams. So that's my hope also for the ladies I work with. Let's go to work. All right. I invite you to relax. I invite you to have an open mind and be with me here to learn about how does it sound? How does parental criticism or demand sound? Also, if I have this in my family, how is this influencing my behavior today? How do I recognize it? Also, what could be a consequence being adults that are kind of staying with me, that I see them or not, that come with me in my life because I was raised in a family with demands. And most important, how do I free myself? How does it sound? And here I really need the discussion with the group, because I used just some examples from my clients in my work, but I would be so happy to hear your examples. I'm all eyes on the chat. If you would like to share anything that you heard, just empower yourself and the others by sharing any of the demands you heard. For example, who had, you did good, but it could be better. Why do other children can take better grades and you not? Why is your friend always behaving? She's nice and you cannot be nice. You got fat. You're too skinny. Are you gonna wear that? Don't be lazy. You make me mad. When you behave like that, you upset me. You're making mama sad. You're making mama angry. That's one side. That's the criticism. But there's also another side. And most of my clients said, no, I had a perfect mother. She would always say I'm great. She would always say I'm perfect. But then how does it feel when the standards are so high, when you cannot make a mistake, when you need to go to volley, to basketball, to chess, to maths, to Olympics, to swimming, and you need to perform? How does it feel when you need to be always a lady? How does it feel when you should never upset anyone, don't talk out loud, behave, smile? What are you going to do with your life? Do you want to be a nobody? So even these positive encouragements that we think we got from our parents can become a form of stress and high standards that we have from ourselves. If you have any to share with me, I would love to hear them. And until then, I want to introduce to you, it's a profile of my client that struggled with demanding parents. I named her Lana. She's a young woman or middle age. She's a professional. She's oriented on career most of the time. She loves to study, to get informed most of the time. She has higher education. Lana is very busy. She's most of the time tired and she ends up being stressed out. If you talk to her, you will instantly see she's funny, she's empathic, she's kind. She's always the first one. If you call in the middle of the night and ask her for a favor, she will leave anything she's doing and she will come to help you and listen to your problems. But she's also very critical of herself. She overthinks, what did she do, if it was good, if she failed at something, if anything was not right. If you watch her schedule, she's always working on something. She always ends up working over hours, doing too much, overstressing about her work or projects or school. And you could hear her, she's not gonna complain much, but if you really ask her, she's gonna feel overwhelmed. And also she's gonna tell you, I should eat better, I should move more, I should rest more, or she knows that there's a voice that's telling her she should, but just everything else becomes more important. And also she had a lot of events in her life. She's strong, she's resilient. She's the one that she's gonna do the job and you can trust the job will be done right. But even though she gets good feedback, she might still doubt it. Are you finding yourself in any of the description until now? I see, yes, I see it is. Ken, if you say yes or not, I'm so curious to hear yes. Yes, I have to say that that's half of my life as well. Like I would always, Lana is me, yes. Lana is part of many of us when we had these demands, right? And we ask ourselves, like, why can I not take more care of myself? Why do I always have to stress, you know? And you don't have an answer for it and you keep going. Yes, so just don't judge yourself, please, if you're seeing this, right? We're going through this for a reason. But the next part is I want to inform you more. I want to empower you more to be able to see on your own when it happens, what type of consequences you're facing. And also, of course, afterwards, what we can do with them. Because it's easy to accuse myself that I never take enough care of myself or I always do too much. Let's see why. Why am I doing this, right? Perfectionism. Impostor syndrome. That's a phenomenon and it's important to know about it. And also, who here has never struggled at least a bit with anxiety and guilt? I personally had a lot. And knowing why and how, it was very helpful. Why we should be aware of them? let me tell you this. Most of my clients that struggle with perfectionism, for example, or are doubting themselves, or have anxiety, they say, but actually this is helping me. My perfectionism and my anxiety are helping me because that's how I motivate to do the job right. That's how I stay always on guard, to keep progressing. But I want, from a perspective of kindness and psychological studies, it's shown that there is an error when we associate perfectionism or feeling scared and anxious with having results. If you're having good results, it's because you're capable. It's because you're putting an effort. It's because you're working on something and you're struggling to finish your task, not because you're stressing over it. So psychology in so many studies has shown that actually perfectionism and anxiety and guilt, they will decrease your productivity, your self-esteem. When I have too much tension of performing, or I don't trust myself, I want to avoid a task. So that's how I find myself delaying my, my deadlines, or not starting to work on something I know I should start, but I'm blocked. Most of the time, it's because the pressure of the task being done correctly, great, good enough, is scaring me. And of course, they consume time. When you lose time, you forget to eat, you forget to sleep, you forget to relax. So that can affect your health and your resources. And in the end, it can affect your general well-being. So that's why I insist so much. Let's see what we can do about it. We deserve to take care of ourselves. Anytime you have anything to share in the chat, please share. What's perfectionism? Do you think you're struggling with perfectionism? Do you think you have high expectations of yourself? You are hoping and asking from yourself to do things perfect, very good, in an excellent manner. How is that in your life? If that's the case, many of my clients, for example, they would spend 5 hours on a project. The tasks are done, but then they go home and they think, I don't think it was good enough. Maybe I should start doing it again. Maybe I should open the laptop again. So they finish the work schedule or the study, but then they start thinking, overthinking. Or they had the conversation with a boss, with a friend, in a group, and they said something. Then they go home. Did I say something bad? That line, that sentence I said, that was really wrong. I should have not said that. What did they think of me? So that's perfectionism. It's going home and still having the expectation that you should have been perfect. I don't know exactly what perfect means, but we still hope for it sometimes. So how does it sound? I have here just a few examples, but I invite you to share yours with me, because sharing means we empower also the other ones to see, oh, so other people are also struggling with this type of thoughts. Maybe it's just not me. I must not fail. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Josiane. Yes, I feel you. I feel you. It's a real phenomenon. And you can see it in most of the young professional women, honestly. And they all think, oh, if I'm not stressed, I'm not doing a good job. But that's just perfectionism speaking. I must not fail at this. It's like, even before an exam, even if you studied, you still have, so much anxiety because it feels so harsh, so bad. The idea that it won't be good and a success. When failure, it's a normal and natural part of learning. If we didn't ever fall when we started to walk, we would never had the experience of, okay, maybe I should stay straight so I can learn how to walk, so I can learn how to run, right? Yes, Kimberly, exactly. When I did something, I keep on asking myself, why did I say that? It should have been different. Exactly. That's perfectionism speaking. I have to always be beautiful. So I cannot get out of the house with no makeup. I have to always be kind. Even though I'm feeling sad and mad and tired, I should always treat everyone with kindness and politeness. I should always be informed. I'm in a meeting and I just don't know something. The boss, the manager, my colleague asks something and I don't know the answer. And I punch my head mentally, why didn't I know that information already? Because I always have to be informed. I always have to be right. Or you want to give an answer in class, for example, or in a meeting, and you're like, it might be a wrong answer. I shouldn't speak. That's perfectionism. Better not do it than to be mediocre. So then instead of going to do dancing classes, instead of enjoying working on a project, instead of going out with your friends, you avoid it because it might not be perfect, If I say something wrong, they'll think I'm stupid. Until I finish this, I don't deserve to eat, I don't deserve to sleep, I'm gonna sleep only 2 hours and finish everything. Completely disregarding normal needs of the body. Yes, exactly. If I had a wrong opinion, which is normal, because wrong is a very, it's a concept. It's not something very wrong and right can be very different things. You keep on ruminating. That's how we call it in psychology, rumination, overthinking in a negative manner. Then not voicing out opinion, exactly, just not to make people upset. And even though we do a lot, we still, for example, the last, it's one, I'm not going to stop till everything is done. Even though I have 5 books to study for something, I don't accept that maybe it's too much. All right, what can we do about that? Here comes an exercise, very easy and basic. Us as human beings, we always focus on what we did wrong, what we said wrong, what we failed at, what has to be improved. And many times we forget to think of what we've done good. So that's why I hope you have a pen and paper. If not, you can still grab one. And let's be a bit kind now that we're seeing all these consequences. Could you be kind with yourself and think in the past, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, even 20 years ago? Have you ever done 5 things that are good? I invite you to think about it. Did you take a good decision? Did you finish a good project? Did you implement something? Did you have a successful relationship? Did you have a successful work, a task, or exam, or study, an interview, a travel? And 5, it's a very modest number. Anything over 5, it's wonderful. Keep on adding. And here, I strongly advise this should be an open list. This is just the beginning. At any time you remember, I did something good. One time I helped someone. One time I got a good grade. One time I did that and that. Just write it down. We need someone to remind us, and who else than us? But another exercise for a perfectionist is because sometimes if I am a perfectionist, I think that only by stressing out, I can perform. So that's why I don't allow myself to rest and enjoy life. But how about, would you think of and write 5 things that went good, that went well for you, even though you didn't stress? A thing that had a flow. Have you ever had a friendship that you didn't have to analyze or overthink? It just had a good flow in it? Or a relationship that has a natural, simple flow? Or a project, or a discussion, or a job interview or an exam, or a relationship with a teacher of yours or a student of yours. We can also share any of your examples. Maybe your examples will help also others. Many times it's possible that small things that I didn't stress much actually were the ones I was the most inspired or creative, right? Because from stress comes tension and pressure, but from trust comes creativity and inspiration. Even though I'm not super informed about something or I'm super skilled with inspiration and curiosity, I can grow. If the memory is not helping, you can think by years. Maybe you can think of when you were 20 or something when you were 18. Just use some specific moments. Or did you do ever something good in school? Use school. Did you do anything, something good in friendships, in family, in work, in a decision? And true, I can imagine, yes, it's not easy. It's not easy if I'm convinced that only by stressing I can perform. It's harder to see that actually also letting things flow can have advantages. Trusting, that's also a trust thing. Trusting your abilities. When you're starting, oh, it's not good enough, but maybe I did that 5 times before. So maybe there's something into me, right? That's capable of doing it. So this is the phenomena of the perfectionism. We have another one that I invited to go towards, and I love that one as well, like getting informed about it. I don't think I ever had a person that I spoke with that for at least one moment didn't have a bit of this imposter syndrome in it, or the pattern of doubting your skills, talents, and accomplishments. It's like I do something, but instead of being content, let's not even say proud, being content with my work, I'm still diminishing it. I'm still discounting it, or I'm not taking credit for it. Let's explain it too through how does it sound in my head. Let's think of something good you've done. Have you ever said, it was just luck that I got it right? The project, the exam, the interview, or a good grade. Oh, I was really lucky that my teacher didn't know actually how many mistakes I made. They probably didn't even read it, that they gave me a good grade. Others are always better. They are more informed. I'm in a meeting. I decide not to speak because probably everyone else know this already. They already know it. Everyone is wiser, so I shouldn't speak because they know better. I can't take this responsibility because maybe someone else is more experienced. I can't take credit for this because anyone could have done it anyway. It was easy. Even a child could have done it. Instead of seeing that, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Or if someone makes a compliment to you, it's like, have you ever felt like, do they actually mean that? What do they want to say with that compliment? Or maybe they just said that because they're nice, not because they really see something beautiful in me, or they see the quality of my work. And the most favorite, that I hear it so many times. People that are young and skilled and professional and they want to start their career or finish exams or do something new. They think I'm not good enough to do it. I'm not good enough to be here. I'm an imposter. So that's when you can understand. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know exactly when. Okay, maybe you're not an expert, but still, yeah, it's a temptation with the imposter syndrome to say, I'm not an expert, I shouldn't speak. Yeah, but no one is expert in everything, right? We all learn from each other. Maybe you, Kimberly, you have some personal insight about something that could improve my insight and Marisol's insight. And maybe Marisol comes with another opinion. And maybe she didn't read 5 books about that, but she has a personal one, a creative one, and she brings a new perspective on the table. And that's how we create something instead of pointing who's the most wrong out of the room, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, Josiane, like, yes, I do something good, yeah, but I'm a good psychologist. I study, I help. Oh, but that psychologist that shows up on YouTube all the time and has 1 million viewers, probably they know and I don't know. How wrong is that? Or you want to be an accountant, or you want to be a professor, you're a good professor. Yeah, but there's another professor in another country that has it all. We don't know. So that's how imposter syndrome sounds. It's always there to tell us that's probably something not good enough in us, that we are imposters in our own life, instead of putting us in charge of knowing. Learning this with wisdom in my head, heart, and soul. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Not all the pressure on just one person. We co-create. If there has not been in any field an army of people with ideas, there was right now no field, right? Even in a meeting, even in a company, even in a university, if they're not different professors, different students, different type of personalities and styles of learning, that's how we create a community of the university, for example. There's not just one. Otherwise, it's just one expert into everything. So now that we see we shouldn't give too much listening to this syndrome, knowing it, let's also work to get rid of it for good. Let's write down. Can you think in your life 5 qualities that you used and that you are sure you used in different areas? Just to give an example, have you ever practiced with success kindness in your life? Have you ever been kind and know that you are a kind person? Patience, listening skills, intelligence, ability to write a project, ability to speak and express ideas. There's so many, each person has the time management. Have you ever been in your life able to arrive or finish something in good time? Maybe not always, but was there a situation when it was important and you did it? And also, to convince yourself even better, can you write an argument that supports that? I was kind because even though I was maybe tired or busy, I was still able to help that and that and that. Even though I have a job, I'm still going to the university. I'm tired and busy, but I still go take my exams. So maybe I am competent. Maybe I am conscious. Maybe I am serious. Maybe I am professional. Or was there a situation when you didn't know everything, but you still learned? So maybe you're open-minded, you're curious, you're capable of learning. Choose the words you're etiquetting yourself with. What I believe about myself, it's what I become. And if I'm kind enough to look at the reasons that prove my skills and my qualities, I have to see those. That's a form of self-love. So I definitely invite you to make the list as longer as you can. Complete the list at any time you need. Share some in the chat. It would be amazing to see what qualities you have discovered in yourself. And I invite you slowly to transition towards the next and the third consequence of having critical or demanding parents, which is anxiety and guilt. But here I want to mention this. So we all know about anxiety and about guilt, and lately it has been so much more, discussed, and you can hear it in a lot of discussions from psychologists. I don't want to go in general about the anxiety. I want to go very, very specific how anxiety shows up in our life, or guilt, after we have struggled with demanding or critical parents. So it's a very targeted type of anxiety and guilt. And here I want to introduce a concept. For me personally, the moment I was in my formation and we were taught about the critical voice, for me had a fantastic healing effect, because what we hear in our head can really put us in a bad place of anxiety and fear and guilt, or can empower us. So the critical voice, it's an internal pattern of thoughts that can be harmful or destructive, or the part of us that turned against us, or that nagging voice that has something mean to say. And sometimes I've heard that. I always talk with my clients and we go deep and say, okay, what's the voice saying? Let's hear it, right? You're so stupid. How could you do that? How could you not know this before? How could you say something that stupid in public? Like, it takes these very mean forms. Here are some examples. And share with me, what example have you heard along your life, in your mind, that was mean? Your own thought, a voice that was mean. I'm curious, because this way we can see that many of us struggle actually with it. It's not the true voice, it's a phenomena. Looking in the mirror, have you ever said, I'm fat, or you're fat, you're ugly? Don't ask for help. Don't bother them. They don't care. You could have said better. You could have looked better. You could have done better. Looking at another woman and saying, I'm never going to be as skinny as she is. I'm never going to be as pretty as she is. You will never have success no matter how much you try. Or in a relationship or friendship, don't be vulnerable. Don't say what you think. You're going to get hurt. Don't ask for help. Don't go at that party. They're going to reject you. They're going to speak bad about you. You're not a writer. You're not a researcher. Yeah. That's like, you see how mean it is? It's like canceling us. It can just cancel us with just one word. Like, you work so hard every day to become a writer, a researcher, a teacher, a professor, a professional, And all of a sudden, one voice comes and says, nope, you're not. End of story. That's outraging, right? I'm never gonna be loved for the true me. How mean is that? How mean is that? When people love us only when we are the true us. And thanks God, we can get those people, only those few that love exactly who we are. So at least we use our precious time in life with those people that are made for us. You're a mean person. Imagine, like, I'm sure a criminal in jail would not say that, but a person that struggles to do everything good, at the end, they still hear you're a mean person. So yes, I hope by hearing these things, you can realize your own mean thoughts, your own critical voice. It's just me. But the question is, how? It's ugly and it's unfair and it should go away. But where did it come from? Is that my voice? It's me? Who is that then? Here, it has been shown that it's most of the time, it's an internalized voice of a representative person throughout our life or more people. It can be the voice of someone that had any form of authority or influence, like a person that we cared for or admired or that had an influence. For example, it could be parents, but not necessarily only parents. It could be a friend that I trust. It could be a teacher. It could be a boss. It could be a group of children in school when I was young and they started making fun of me from different reasons. It can be an uncle that was really mean about something and they made me feel bad. Can you identify an entity, a figure, a person, or a situation when someone inducted something like that? For me, for example, my mom never would say something bad about me, but I remember in school, like she said, you're always the first one in your class. You're always the best one in class. And I remember, even though I thought that's wonderful, so look how much she believes in me, but I remember getting to university and having tremendous amounts of anxiety before any exam. What if I don't get a 10 out of 10? It was such a, my critical voice was like, you cannot be bad, you cannot be stupid, you cannot be a failure. That was so mean. So we all have something. It can be body, it can be mind. All right, question now. Let's identify it, because then we know it's not us. And the next part is, what do we do with it? We need to get rid of it. I love this exercise. Exactly, look, yeah, another one. If not even my parents can love me unconditionally, how will others do? That's such a powerful one, right? It's easy to believe, right? Being as a child, it becomes, but thanks God, now we're adults and now we can get information and now we have the power to choose what we believe. Let's address this voice. If I take an example for, let's say, you will never have success, or as we had in the chat, you will never be a researcher. You're not a researcher, right? You're not a researcher. You're a mean person. No one will love you. Let's ask it. Voice, mean voice. Are you here to help me or to hurt me? When I hear that I'm mean and I'm not a researcher and I don't have success, is this helping me or it's hurting me? I think it hurts. It hurts a lot. Voice. Are you my friend or are you my enemy? Would ever a friend tell you you're not a researcher, no one will love you for who you are, you're mean? I don't think that could be called a friend. Most of the time, that could be an enemy trying to hurt you. Voice. If I listen to you, are you making me feel good or bad? So if I believe that I'm not a researcher, if I believe I'm mean, if I believe I'm not gonna be loved, am I feeling good or bad? What emotions I have? If it's bad, I kind of know, right? And if I listen to you, am I improving? Is your feedback constructive? Or are you not helping me? You're putting me down. Like if someone tells me you're not a researcher, is that helping me to become better? It's easy to check 4 questions all the time. I can make the check with any of the mean thoughts I have. And the 5th one is like this. If the answer for this is hurting, enemy, bad, or not helping in any way, do I still need to listen to this voice? Absolutely not. Then I know. Then I can breathe and let it go freely. That's not mine. That's not my thing to deal with. I let it go. Do you agree with these questions? Are these questions useful for you? Let me know in the chat if it would help you to have a discussion with your own critical voice. For me personally, they helped. At least I knew what to believe and not to believe about myself. And now, after knowing about perfectionism, knowing how Lana is, right, if she had critical parents, so they would tell her, okay, you're not good enough, it's not good. Or if she had someone that had very high expectations from her, asking for too much, we know that Lana can become easily stressed, an overthinker, she's sensitive, she doesn't trust herself too much. Then we know Lana can face perfectionism, Lana can face imposter syndrome, Lana can face anxiety and guilt because of the critical voice. So it's time that Lana and all of us here, we make this small freedom plan, free yourself plan. First, this is a summary of the first exercises we had. So first of all, we decide. First of all, I decide that I am an adult now, that life is short, that I'm given just a limited amount of time on earth, and that I deserve to use that time loving myself and taking care of myself and living with joy. I decide first. Otherwise, I can do all the psychology in the world and all the exercises. I have to allow myself. And then I can have always the list of 5 things that I've done well. Then I can always write and keep on adding to the list when I did 5 things that went well, even though I didn't stress over it. So I can accept that life sometimes just flows, that beautiful things in life and productive things in life come also from creativity and letting go and inspiration, not only from stress. Also, I can make a list of qualities that I've shown during my life and write even more and argument them. It's easy. When you have arguments, it's easier for the brain to believe. And this is the new part. We haven't done it through the webinar, but it should be the next step of it. Address the critical voice, like make those questions. You can write it down on something. And every time you have doubts about something, every time you start feeling anxiety or guilt, try to think, what am I telling myself about me now that's hurting me? So then you identify the thought, right? Oh, did I tell myself that I'm not a researcher? So I feel anxiety before the exam. What am I telling myself? You're never going to pass it. You're never going to have success. You're never going to be a researcher. Ah, so that was okay. It's not even the exam. It's my belief. Maybe it's the mean thought that I'm not going to be able to do it. And then I start discussing with the voice. Are you helping me? Are you my friend? No, it means you're not right. It means right now, I won't believe you. It means right now, I will choose to believe something else, something that helps me. So what do I believe? That's the moment when I can allow and introduce and cultivate the compassionate voice. And I want to say here, if I grew up in a family with very critical parents, I might not be familiar with compassion. I might not be familiar to telling myself kind and nice words. It's going to be harder for me to say it because I'm not used to it. I haven't heard it so much. But I can always ask myself, what would I say or advise my best friend in this situation? And let me give an example. For example, I feel really stressed out before exam or before I'm a professor, really stressed out before a presentation in front of my students or a new project that it's not going great or before an exam. I'm stressed out, I'm tired, and my mean voice is saying, don't stop, you have to finish this, don't eat until then, you're a failure if you don't do it, you're never gonna be good enough. What would I say to my best friend? Would I say, I understand you're tired. It's okay to take some rest. It's going to help you if you rest a bit. You've done this before. You have this. You got this. You're going to manage it. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. That's how compassionate voice sounds. It's what we would say to our dearest and most loved person, to our children even, to our family. And because Lana, we kept on using Lana, most of the time, she's used to ignore her own needs and she's used to give too much to others. Then it's very important to create a list of your own needs. Can you think of 5 things that will make you happy? That you need now? Do you need to rest more? Do you need to set more boundaries? Do you need to learn saying no when you already have too much to do and maybe you need a break? Do you need to eat healthier? Do you need to do some sport? Do you need to go to the beach tomorrow? Thank you, Marisol. And also identify 2 self-care habits that will improve your health and well-being. If I take care of myself, if I eat well or rest or relax or go for a massage or go for a run or do some meditation or spend time drawing, self-care can be so much. Self-care means from saying no to something I don't want to raising my voice and saying what I want. This is self-care. And if I decide I have the right to implement and do so, I will be able to live a happier life and empower myself. And at any moment you feel overwhelmed, if this has triggered anything that's overwhelming, you can always ask for help. That's also a self-care habit, working to overcome any stress. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than honored to listen to them, and I would be more than honored to answer and develop something that triggered you or was interesting or was not clear, or would you like more info about?